All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to deconstruct the strange, brilliant, and honestly kind of confusing opening of one of philosophy's most important books. It really is a puzzle. And you know what? By the end of this, we are going to solve it. Together.
The book we're talking about is, of course, Friedrich Nietzsche's The Gay Science. And look, this isn't just some dusty old text. It is a landmark of modern thought. This is the very book where he famously says, God is dead. It's profound, it's challenging, and it pretty much changed everything. Which honestly makes the way it starts so bizarre. I mean, before you get to any of the dense philosophy, before any of those earth-shattering ideas, Nietzsche opens this absolute heavyweight of a book with 63 poems. Yeah, poems. So that brings us to the big question we're tackling today. Why? What on earth was he thinking?
So, this poetic opening is the first major piece of our puzzle. Think of it as a poetic gateway. And this isn't just Nietzsche being artsy, he is doing something very, very specific here. Our mission is to figure out exactly where this gateway is trying to lead us.
You see, by starting with poetry, Nietzsche is immediately throwing down the gauntlet. He's rejecting what he calls the dismal, dry, super systematic philosophy that came before him. He's basically sending up a flare, signaling that this book is going to be different. It's going to be about vitality, creativity, and about life itself.
So, what's actually in these poems? Well, for one, you get an invitation to a pretty daring journey. You meet this whole cast of characters, dancers, brave men, who all represent this vibrant, life-affirming spirit. You also get this powerful imagery of wind and light and serpents, but the most crucial theme woven through it all is this idea of recovery, of convalescence, like finally getting better after a really long illness.
And here it is, our first huge clue to solving this whole thing. It's the title of the prelude itself, Jest, Ruse, and Revenge. Seriously, these three words are the key that unlocks Nietzsche's entire mindset for this project. Let's break them down. First up, jest. Now this isn't about telling knock-knock jokes. It's about a kind of philosophical cheerfulness. Nietzsche is completely reframing the search for truth. It's not some heavy, soul-crushing moral burden anymore. Instead, it's a joyful, delightful dance. Next we have ruse. This implies a sort of intellectual cunning. To be a real philosopher in Nietzsche's world, you can't just be naive. You need a skeptical eye, a sharp mind to see through all the deceptions and illusions of conventional morality. You gotta be clever.
And finally, revenge. This is by far the most aggressive part. It signals an attack. Nietzsche is taking direct aim, getting revenge on the moral and religious systems that he believes have been choking our natural human instincts for centuries. This is not passive philosophy, people. This is a declaration of war.
And all of this ties back to that theme of recovery we just talked about. Nietzsche sees his whole philosophy as a kind of rebirth. He actually likens it to a snake shedding its old, tight, restrictive skin so it can emerge renewed with what he calls a second clarity. He's leaving all those old, sick ways of thinking in the dust. Okay, so we've got this poetic opening that's bursting with life and aggression. But then, right after that, Nietzsche hits us with a complete and total tonal whiplash. And that is our second major clue, this jarring shift into prose that's all about biology.
I mean, just look at this contrast. The prelude is all about artistry, vitality, and that philosophical cheerfulness. But then Book A, the first actual section of prose, is suddenly analytical and focused on one thing: the cold, hard, biological instinct for survival. It's a shocking pivot from the artist to the scientist, and trust me, it is 100% intentional.
So, here's the crucial move. After all that soaring poetry, Nietzsche immediately grounds his entire project in the most basic, fundamental reality he can find: our raw, biological drive to just stay alive and keep the species going. No talk of metaphysics, no theology, just survival.
And this is not some random tangent, it's an incredibly strategic move. See, by first establishing that our core drive is biological instinct, he builds the foundation he needs to then critique how morality has twisted that instinct. And that ultimately leads him to confront the huge crisis of the death of God. Step one here is the essential bedrock for everything that's coming next.
Think about it for a second. If all the old religious and metaphysical frameworks that used to give our lives meaning have collapsed, where do you even begin? You can't start with God or the soul anymore. Nietzsche's answer:
You start at the bottom with the one undeniable thing we all share, the raw biological reality of life.
So, let's put these pieces together. We have the joyful, artistic poetry on one hand and the harsh, biological prose on the other. It's time for the big reveal. Let's see the full picture they create.
Okay, so here's the master plan behind the opening. The Prelude's poetry sets this joyous, creative tone and introduces us to this idea of the artist-philosopher. Then, bam, Book 1 immediately grounds that joyful philosophy in the brutal reality of survival. The combination of the two is designed to arm you, the reader, with a very specific mindset, one that is cunning, joyful, and absolutely, unflinchingly rooted in life.
So the answer to our puzzle is this. The beginning of the gay science isn't some random artistic flourish. It's a mission statement. It is Nietzsche's training manual, designed to prepare our minds and our spirits to confront the terrifying and also exhilarating freedom of a world where all the old rules have crumbled.
And that leaves us with a profound, deeply unsettling question that Book I forces us to ask. It's the question Nietzsche wanted every single one of his readers to wrestle with. If our most cherished values, our ideas of good and evil, are, in the end, just clever tools our species developed for survival, then what are they really worth?